Have you ever wanted to record a podcast but didn't know the way? Well, I've got good news. Let me tell you about something. It's called Anchor, and Anchor is the easiest way to record a podcast. Let me explain. It's absolutely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's what I need you to do. Please download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Oh, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's another Outwork You Thursday right here on the 22 Podcast. So glad you could join me today. Listen, you know what to do. Grab your notebook, grab your iPad, grab your laptop, grab your friends, grab your family, grab everybody that you know. I believe today's episode is going to be by far a really, really great episode. I know I say that every week, but listen, I think you enjoy this one. All right, with that being said, let's get into it. I wanted to do something a little different that would lighten up the mood, that would make the show a lot more fun again, because the past month has been eye-opening. It's been transparent. It's been real. It's been liberating, but it's been painful at times. I have to say. But I wouldn't trade the experience of this past month for anything. I wouldn't do it because I personally believe that through my testimony about some of the things that I've been distracted by was a beacon of hope for somebody. That was that I could be an example of redemption. That I could be an example of freedom. That I could be an example of somebody who has been through a storm and that has been through trials and made it out. Because you can't have a testimony without a test. And I wanted to take the time throughout the month to do that, to talk about the test that became a testimony. But I appreciate all of you for all that you are and all that you do for the show, listening to the show, being a part of the conversation, the messages, the calls, the text messages, just all that you continue to all your continued support each and every week means so much to me. But I want to make an announcement that the Distracted series was the most streamed and most listened to series in the history of the 22 Podcast. Yes, give yourselves a hand. I appreciate you all for all that you did for this month of July. Let's keep it going. The numbers are still running for this particular series, but geez, I really appreciate you all for all that you continue to do for the 22 Podcast. Continue to listen and share and replay it and repost your favorite parts of the show. Quotes and all that, all those different things. Definitely repost that. Definitely repost the thing that really blesses you as you listen to it. But today I wanted to, like I said, do something different and make it a little fun, loosen up a little bit, but still be informal. This episode and today's talk, was inspired by a list that I was looking at about a few things. It's actually in the book Boys Won't Be Boys, shameless plug. That's written by my mentor, Coach Tim Brown, and he wrote a book called Boys Won't Be Boys, and in there he put a list. It was a guy that put a list of the things he wished he had learned by the time he was 21. And I'm paraphrasing that. I'm probably, and that what I'm saying is not verbatim completely. It's a bit of a paraphrase, but it was some certain things he wanted to learn by the time he was 21. And I mean, it's kind of similar to a few of the things that I wanted to learn before I became an adult. And so these are my 10 things I wish that I learned before adulthood. And I encourage you to take the time out and write down your own list of the things that you didn't learn until you became an adult. And better yet, there's some of these things I didn't learn until I was in my mid-20s. And don't judge me. This is a judgment-free zone. But we all have things we have to learn. And some of us learn them quick. Some other people learn a little slower. And some people are oblivious to the fact, or act like in some ways they're oblivious to the fact that they need to know this, or they didn't know this at all. And they continue to do what they're doing. And so let's get into it. All right. So the first thing that I wish I had learned before entering adulthood was that generational curses are real. Generational curses are by far the realest things in the world. And, you hear about them in church. I heard about them so much in church as a kid about generational curses. Didn't understand what generational curses were all about. I just knew curses and that's that. I didn't know anything about generational curses. I know about curse words. I know about some other things, but I didn't learn about generational curses until I got a little older and, heard about certain things that happened within my family. And I eventually at some point in my life had to take the mindset and the mindset basically that it didn't start with me, but it's got to end with me. It may not have started with me, but anything that has been within my family's past must end with me. That anything that has been negative in my family's history, that has spanned generations, has to end with me. And, I didn't realize the reality of generational curses until I got older. I gotta say, I didn't really get into them until I was about 20, I want to say 24, 23, 24. Let me just be real, because it was just like, there was that part in your life where, some of your favorite family members that you looked up to, that you emulated, that when you found out that they did certain things, you didn't believe it. You were just in denial about some of the things that happened. And then once you got older and you realized, okay, maybe this is true, and I don't want this to touch my part of the bloodline. Because as you guys know, I'm not married or anything like that. I don't want my future generations, my future kids to have to worry about the generational curse that I was too naive to break, or that I was too scared to break. I don't want them to worry about that. And so my mindset with generational curses is that it didn't start with me, but it has to end with me. And if there's anything in your life or any generational curses that you're dealing with in your family, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's alcoholism, whether it's infidelity, no matter what it is, it may not have started with you, but it will end with you. Whatever it is, addiction, adultery, whatever it may be. We're not going to pinpoint just one thing. that is a generational curse. But if you're dealing with that, and let me be honest, while I'm talking about generational curses, as we're dealing with racial tension, if anybody is dealing with the generational curse of racism, it may not have started with you, but it can end with you. You can cut that off. Whatever that may be, whatever you have to do to cut cut down that generational curse where you may have had racist individuals in your family, it can end it with you. It may not have started. Any generational curse may not have started with you, but it will end with you. Don't push that into your future, to the next generation and the next generation after that. Okay, number two, the things I wish that I learned before entering adulthood, that self-care is more than vital. I didn't understand the value of self-care until I became an adult. Because, when I was a kid, they weren't really talking about self-care. As I was growing, they weren't talking about that. They were, self-care wasn't even, I don't think it was in the conversation when I was growing up. But I didn't realize the value of it until I got older. I didn't realize the value of resting. I didn't understand the value of getting sleep. I didn't understand the value of, exercise. I would exercise because I was an athlete. But I didn't understand the value of taking time to say no to things. And it takes a toll on you mentally and physically when you don't practice self-care, when you don't say no to some things. It really takes a toll on you. And I had to, when you don't take care of yourself, your resistance levels go down. At some point, they go down. Then you're susceptible to certain things in your life. You're susceptible to certain issues. And I really needed to draw back. And in just a little bit, I'll talk about why I needed to draw back. But practicing self-care is a big thing to me now. There are a lot of times where after I get done with an episode, after I get done with Zoom calls and meetings and phone calls and a whole bunch of other things, not to make myself sound like I'm just super important or anything like that, but as of recent, I had a lot of phone calls, Zoom calls, and what have you, that I literally don't do anything else. I go take a nap. Yes. Part of self-care is getting sleep. For those who are like me, who are dealing with the hustle and bustle of life, dealing with growing up and running things and doing things, adulting, to be exact, please take some time to just take a nap. Read a book, drink some water, go for a walk, practice self-care, whatever that may be. But whatever you need to do, practice self-care. It's important. I don't want anybody getting ran down or losing their getting sick or anything like that. Practice self-care. Number 3, and oh my goodness, this is just a preview right here, number 3, of what I'm going to be talking about in the month of August. At least one of the episodes is going to be about this. Number three of the things I wish I had learned before being an adult is that soul ties are real. Soul ties are real. And if we want to make it relevant to what's going on today, entanglements are real. And entanglements aren't just sexual. Let's just pop it right there. And that goes without saying. A lot of people are going to say, a lot of people are going to go, well, you shouldn't have said that. That goes without saying. But soul ties are beyond sexual. I'll give you one story and then I'll give you the rest of it when we do this episode on soul ties. And I'll talk about the series at the end of this episode. But I was stuck on this young lady for about, I want to say 10 years. 10 years. I mean, like, I wanted to date her. We was going to be together. This, that, and the third. When I say I was stuck on her, to the point that we finally dated. It was amazing. It was awesome. Everything was cool. And then all of a sudden, everything changed abruptly. But I could not get over. I couldn't get over by any means. I could not get over not being with her. I could not get over the breakup. I could not get over being without her. For 10 years, I was stuck in a soul tie. For 10 years, I was stuck. We didn't go too far. When you're emotionally involved and something abruptly happens within the dynamics of the relationship, whether it's a breakup, doesn't matter what it is. When you are involved with someone and they break your heart, it is sometimes, in some cases, it is hard to get over that. You got to watch who you connect yourself to, because they will have a lasting impact on you. They will have a lasting impact on your life, on your emotions, on your mind as well. And I didn't realize that as a kid about soul ties, and that bad soul ties will have you chasing somebody and running yourself ragged chasing that same person. They will have you all the way messed up. Soul ties are nothing to play with at any point. They're nothing to play with. They're nothing to joke around with. Sure, some of us haven't gone through what we've seen as of recent, but we've all managed to be in a soul tie that has damaged us. We've all been managed to be in an entanglement that has completely destroyed us. I didn't even think I was going to say anything about entanglements. I was just going to call them soul ties, but to be like I said, to be relevant to what's going on, we're going to call them entanglements. Entanglements are real, y'all. If you have any soul ties, today's the day to cut them off. And we're really going to get into soul ties really, really, really soon. So look forward to that. All right. Number 4 of the things I wish that I had learned before entering adulthood is that my history is worth learning in its totality. If you're like me and you grew up, and a lot of kids to this day are still dealing with this, we only learned about our history 1 month a year. We only learned about Black history 1 month a year. And the only things that we would learn about as far as Black history is, Carter G. Woodson, George Washington Carver, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. We'd only learn about certain parts of our history. Now, when I got to a different school, we started learning about some other people, Marcus Garvey, Dred Scott. We started learning about that, learning about our history a little further. But in my family, we didn't talk about Black history that much. Yeah, sure, we watched movies about Martin Luther King. Yeah, sure, we watched movies about the Amistad. We watched movies about Malcolm X. And I don't discount, and I'm not discounting what I learned as a kid, but I wish I would have learned what I know now about my history as an African American. And I'm just so eager to learn so much more. It's amazing what has happened in the last few months and last few years, to be exact, where I've learned so much about the history of my people that I wish I had known when I was a kid. But and even going further, learning about some of the things that I learned within my own family, about my own family's history and my own family's mark on Black history and my own family's mark on the civil rights movement and sharecropping and so many other things. And I wish I would have learned a lot of this stuff. Maybe I didn't know a lot of the stuff that I knew, especially about my own family, because they didn't feel like I was mature enough to really handle what was going on. And yes, I dealt with a bit of immaturity at some point, where a lot of things that I know now I didn't know then. And I think we've all dealt with that. We're not completely fully mentally ready to know about certain things within our lives. And so I'm grateful for what I know now, but I wish again that I had learned about it before I was entering adulthood, or at least it wasn't sugar coated. So my history, I needed to know that my history, about something that I wish I had learned, is that my history is worth learning in its totality, not just what they choose to teach us for 1 month, the shortest month in the year. And learning about Martin Luther King is great. Learning about all the things that we constantly are taught in school is great, but we need to know more. We need to know more. Because we need to know why we're here. And we need to know why we're fighting so hard to be treated fairly. For racism to end. For prejudice to end. So that's one of the main things that I wanted to learn before entering adulthood. Number 5 is the value of taking control of your emotions. The value of taking control of your emotions. God knows that I have had issues with controlling my emotions, especially when I was younger. There was so much I was going through as a kid. Not being accepted, just being an outcast, an oddball, being just dealing with anger issues, dealing with low self-esteem, dealing with family issues, dealing with so many things in my life that I didn't realize the value of taking control of my emotions. I didn't learn about that until I got way older. And let me tell you something. I'm an advocate about taking control of your emotions. I'm an advocate about men, especially young black men, especially black men, period, in who have been taught, like I've been taught, to not cry, to not be emotional about certain things. I know you hear me talk about this all the time, but it is what it is. I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face that my bruhs, it's okay to cry. It's okay to share how you feel. And I needed to learn how to take control with how I feel. Not allow somebody to control my emotion, but to allow my emotion, not to allow my emotions to control me, but to control my emotions. I needed to know the value of that, and I didn't learn that until I got into my mid-20s. A lot of the stuff I didn't learn until mid-20s, late 20s. Because for so long I harbored some emotions that led to some other things, and you've heard me talk about that, and there's plenty of times where I said to myself, I hate how I feel, but I can't share how I feel because I don't want to be considered soft. It's not soft to share how you feel. Forget what everybody else has to say. And you know, I don't know. Emotions are nothing to play with. Take control of your emotions. It doesn't matter who you are. This isn't just for the guys. This is for everybody. This is for women as well. This is just for everybody. Can take control of your emotions. Number 6, and this is another thing. The value of prioritizing mental health. Remember I said that self-care is more than vital? When you busy yourself, it's one thing to be busy. So many people are busy, but not everybody's productive. Some people are busy just to be busy. Some people are busy to hide what they're dealing with emotionally. Sometimes people busy themselves to to mask what they're dealing with mentally. And it's one thing to be busy. It's one thing to be busy. It's another thing to be productive. And sometimes within the busyness, the bustle, and the hustle and the bustle of life, that we forget to prioritize mental health. And so we have shutdowns. Let me tell a quick story that I have not told. Well, you might have heard me tell this briefly. But this past January, when all was still well and we could still go out and go to basketball games and have fun and giggle and go out to eat and go ice skating and, just enjoy life. I was coaching a basketball game, and I can give you the exact date. This was January 18th of this year. I had a nervous breakdown. I had an anxiety attack in the middle of a game. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the heat of the moment in the game. Or maybe it was something that I've been dealing with throughout the week. Maybe it was a couple of other things that was going on in life. And in the middle of the game, I had a nervous breakdown. I had a quiet nervous breakdown. Internally, I was breaking down. Mentally, I was breaking down. I was having an anxiety attack. I didn't completely know I was there. I knew I was coaching, but other than that, I wasn't completely there. And it took me a week or two to completely recover. Because trying to find the outlying reason as to why I had this breakdown was was tough. Only to find out it's just like that I overloaded myself, that I was overexerting myself, that I wasn't sleeping. I was stressed out about coaching and doing so many other things in life that were going on. And so learning the value of prioritizing mental health is a big thing, y'all. Take care of your mind. Number 7, don't play with your faith. Listen, don't play with faith. Don't play with God. Please don't. Don't play with God. You know, God is just, God is merciful, but don't play with him. Take your faith serious. You can't have, and realize that faith without works is dead. I need somebody to, once again, somebody's messing with their alarm. Anyway, people have to realize that, faith without works is dead. And you can't have faith and not work your faith. You got to put feet to your prayer. You can't just say, I want this, and things happen, and you can't pray for it once. You got to stay steadfast. You got to stay on the wall. You got to pray. You got to put feet to your prayer. You got to work your faith. Don't play with your faith. Don't squander. Don't play around. Don't let your faith collect dust. Don't allow doubt to fill your heart. That's the biggest thing that I dealt with in my life, is dealing with, a lack of faith in so many things. Don't play with faith. Number 8, don't squander your purpose. Don't squander your purpose at all. Purpose is, we all have purpose. We all have a plan for our lives. Don't squander that don't squander your purpose. Don't squander the purpose and the plan in your life simply because as quick as you find it, is as quick as you can sometimes forget about it and go on to something. You could lose it quick. Don't squander your purpose trying to be something you're not. Number 9, realizing my value. Realizing that I have value, that I have purpose, that I'm loved, that I'm that God is that I'm accepted, that I'm redeemed, that I am set free. Realizing my value and not putting my value in other people who cannot count. It's as simple as that. Realizing my value was a big thing that I had to learn how to deal with, because I didn't realize my value. And so because I didn't do that, I would do things to be accepted. I would go places to be accepted. I would say things to be accepted. I would act a certain way to be accepted, and not knowing that took a toll on my value. I didn't understand I was valuable. Yeah, you heard it from time to time, but when you don't believe that you're valuable, you're not going to take that into consideration. But I wish I had learned that a lot more before I became an adult. And it took me years to value myself. It took me years to value not playing with my faith. It took me years to value prioritizing mental health. It took me years to value the taking control of my emotions. Realizing my value is a great thing. You have to realize your value. Realize that you are valuable, that you are worth more than anything that anybody can put a price tag on. Stop putting your value in other people who do not know how to count and don't even know their own. They'll discount you. when they've discounted themselves. Realize your value. And finally, number 10, being financially stable. Good God Almighty. I'm still learning this one. I put this at the bottom for a reason. Being financially stable is a paramount thing to learn. That I can't spend my money on everything. It's good to get one good meal, maybe buy one good thing, maybe buy something that you want one time, but save your money. Put it towards something, whatever your dream is. Put it towards your dream. It's okay to have indulgences and guilty pleasures every now and then, but please prioritize being financially stable. Still learning to this day. Because when I was younger, I used to get money, blow money, get money, blow money. Blowing money, showing money. So I implore you to be financially stable and learn about the value of being financially stable. So with that being said, I appreciate you for listening to my list. I hope it helps somebody. I just wanted to be transparent about myself in this moment. Thank you to all of you that listen to the show again. Just a quick little preview of the next month. I know I've been previewing it, and I know I've told a couple people about it. But next month, the month of August, is Detox Month. We are going to detox from a lot of things, and I'm not giving you one lick of anything, one thing that I'm talking about. Okay, I gave you one. And if you missed it, you missed it. Rewind the episode and listen to it again. You'll catch it. But the next month series is called Detox. There are certain things in our lives that we need to detox from. We need to get rid of. In our lives. We need to do soul detox, mental detox, financial detox. We got to detox from some things in our lives. And so I encourage you next Tuesday to be a part of the detox, because we're going to get rolling next Tuesday. Please join me at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and 1 p.m. on Thursdays. 1 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays here on Anchor, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And at 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights on IG Live. IG Live. That's for Tuesday Night Live. You don't want to miss a moment of that. And while we're here talking about IG, please follow me at AlexJ_Live. That's AlexJ_Live. And also follow the show page at 22_podcast. That's 22_podcast. Let's be interactive. Let's connect with one another. Let's talk. Let's chat. Let's have fun with this. I'll be so glad to hear from you. And with that being said, appreciate you. We'll see you next Tuesday right here on the 22 Podcast. Be blessed, y'all. Have an amazing weekend. We'll see you soon.